You know what's funny? Most people don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because every Monday, they try to become a completely different person. This week, I'll wake up at 5 a.m. I'll work out daily. No more scrolling. No junk food. New me. And then by Wednesday, that new me is lying in bed, eating snacks, watching random videos, and pretending the week doesn't count anymore. Sound familiar? Because this is not just a you problem. This is a consistency problem. And the real reason you can't stay consistent has very little to do with motivation. It's much simpler than that. You keep relying on feelings to do things that require systems. That's the real issue. You're trying to stay consistent based on how inspired you feel in the moment, and feelings are unstable. One day you feel motivated, focused, ready to change your life. The next day you're tired, distracted, and suddenly the same goal feels 10 times heavier. So you stop, not because you don't care, not because you're incapable, but because your actions were built on emotion, not structure. That's where most people lose. They think consistency means always feeling ready, but nobody always feels ready, let's be honest. Some days, even brushing your teeth feels like extra work. Consistency is not doing something when you feel perfect. Consistency is doing it even when your brain says, let's skip today. We'll start fresh tomorrow. And tomorrow, of course, becomes the most crowded day in human history. That's why motivation alone never saves you. Systems do. Think about school. Most people showed up regularly as kids not because they were deeply inspired every morning, but because there was a system, a time, a place, a routine. It was built into life. That's how consistency actually works, not through giant emotional promises, through small, repeated actions that become normal.
But here's another reason people fail. They make consistency way too big. They don't say, I'll study for 20 minutes. They say, from today, I'll study 5 hours every day. They don't say, I'll go for a short walk. They say, I'm transforming my whole body starting now. It sounds exciting in the beginning, but it's also the fastest way to quit, because big goals are fun to imagine, but hard to repeat. And consistency is all about repeatability. Can you do it when you're tired? Can you do it when you're bored? Can you do it on a normal day, not just a motivational one? That's the real test. Anyone can be intense for 2 days. Anyone can make a dramatic life plan at midnight. But can you keep showing up when it stops feeling exciting? That's where real growth happens. And this part matters too. Boredom is part of consistency. People think that if they found the right goal, they'd always feel passionate about it. Not true. Even things you care about become repetitive sometimes. Working out gets boring. Studying gets boring. Making videos gets boring. Even chasing your dream gets boring on certain days. That doesn't mean it's wrong. It means it's real. The problem is, most people are addicted to stimulation. They want progress to feel exciting all the time. But real consistency is usually quiet. It looks small. It looks boring. It looks like doing the same useful thing again and again, even when nobody claps for you. And there's one more mistake that ruins everything. People judge themselves too hard after one bad day. You miss one workout, and suddenly you think, that's it, I ruined the streak. You skip one session, and now the whole week feels wasted. Relax. It was one bad day, not a new personality. One missed day does not destroy consistency. What destroys consistency is the story you tell yourself after missing that day. Because once you start saying, I already failed, you begin acting like someone who failed. And then one bad day becomes 3, 3 becomes 10, and now it feels like proof. But consistency is not about never messing up. It's about returning faster. That's the real shift, not perfection, recovery. The people who stay consistent are not superhuman. They just don't turn small mistakes into full disasters. They fall off, then they get back on. Simple. So if you really want to become consistent, stop asking, how do I stay motivated forever? Ask better questions. How can I make this easier to start? How can I make it smaller? How can I do it even on low energy days? Because action creates momentum, not the other way around. You do not become consistent and then take action. You take action, and that slowly creates consistency. So stop trying to be impressive. Be repeatable. That one idea can change everything. You do not need a perfect new life. You need a smaller next step. Just one action, then another, then another. And one day, the thing that used to feel hard becomes normal. That's when consistency finally clicks. Not when you become more motivated, when you become more realistic. Because in the end, consistency is not about being on fire every day. It's about becoming the kind of person who can still move even when the fire is low.